Welcome everyone. Thanks a lot for staying with us. You're watching Plain Speak with me, Shivani Gupta. A major chapter in BJP's leadership story has been written. The BJP has formally handed over the reins of its national organization to Nitin Nabin, who has taken charge as the party's youngest ever national president at just 45. A move that marks a clear attempt to project youth, energy and generational change within India's largest party. Now, Prime Minister Narendra Modi, speaking at the event, framed this transition not merely as an organizational change, but as a strategic shift towards the next generation. In his remarks, he delivered some striking lines. For example, he said, "When it comes to party matters, Nitin Nabin is my boss and I am a party worker." He stressed that this generational renewal isn't just symbolic, it reflects the BJP's confidence in leaders who have grown up in a rapidly transforming India, a generation that has seen our economy, technology and society evolve dramatically. But it wasn't just about celebrating a generational shift, of course. The PM also took a pointed dig at the opposition, particularly on the question of leadership and quote dynastic politics. While he didn't single out anyone, his broader political narrative underscored that BJP is striving to break from the politics of the past, contrasting it with what he terms outdated, status quo, dynastic tendencies that keep opposition parties stuck in old frameworks instead of embracing change. So have other parties been stuck? National or regional parties, have they failed to evolve? And is that one of the key reasons that a traditional conservative party like BJP in India is resonating even with the youth of this country? We'll take that and more to our guest joining us in just a bit. A little bit more about Nitin Nabin. The BJP has chosen a leader who is breaking conventional expectations. First up, the headline grabbing aspect about him is the fact that he's just 45 years old. In politics, that is pretty young. He becomes the youngest president of the party as well, signaling a shift towards more youth or youthful leadership. Unlike some of the party's past presidents, he's not really a mass face. They've had very tall BJP leaders be party presidents. He's not really known for his charismatic public appeal or anything. He's a quiet grassroots strategist who has worked behind the scenes so far. His rise is being credited to a more merit-based system, having built his career through the ABVP and key state-level organizational roles rather than relying on any family connections or factional support. In fact, observers are terming him as a bit of a dark horse, and many credit him as being selected because, to his credit, he's someone who focuses, as they say, on execution and implementation rather than engaging in internal politics or factionalism. So that must have gone in his favor, at least as far as the BJP's party leadership is concerned and the vote from the PM, HM and current president or outgoing president is concerned. But that doesn't mean that Nitin Nabin will not have more than enough challenges going ahead in an uncertain global atmosphere, but also a changing landscape as far as politics, demography and aspirations in India are concerned. Nabin has to now lead aggressive campaigns in West Bengal against an entrenched TMC, of course, and repeat the mandate in a state like Assam, along with expand the presence in Tamil Nadu, Kerala and Puducherry, all tall asks. He also has to handle the very politically sensitive caste enumeration that is expected around 2027, address OBC and Dalit aspirations without diluting the BJP's core voter base or unsettling any alliance partners. The BJP has to, as the single largest party in India and also one with South India ambitions, it has to navigate southern states' anxieties over potential delimitation, which is also on the cards. The party under Nitin Nabin will have to build cross-party consensus for simultaneous polls, one of the big key ticket reform of Narendra Modi. It has to counter opposition claims of centralization, erosion of federalism and systemic advantage to national parties. And of course, not to forget, the next Lok Sabha elections will be fought under his leadership in 2029. So narrative control ahead of the next elections, shaping the party's strategy, all will be his responsibility. Listen in to how the PM reposed faith in this new BJP millennial president, as he called him.
हमारे माननीय नितिन नवीन जी बीजेपी की विरासत को आगे बढ़ाएंगे। मैं आजकल के युवाओं की भाषा में कहूं तो नितिन जी खुद भी एक प्रकार से मिलेनियल है। वो उस जनरेशन से हैं जिसने भारत में बड़े आर्थिक, सामाजिक और टेक्नोलॉजिकल परिवर्तन होते देखे हैं। वो उस जनरेशन से हैं जिसने बचपन में रेडियो से सूचनाएं पाई और आज एआई के भी एक्टिव यूजर है।
While BJP has made a bold move of making a 45-year-old their president, let's just take a look at their competition. Let's start with the Congress party, for example. It's a party that is stuck in family politics. The Gandhi family is the party number one. But even when they did choose a non-Gandhi party president after a long delay, who did they choose? They chose an 83-year-old Mallikarjun Kharge. Experience, sure, but is there that youth connect that you need these days? Other parties are completely dynasty-driven to the T. There is Akhilesh Yadav, who's stepping into his father's shoes in his party. There is Tejashwi Yadav, who's also young himself, but carries the Lalu name. And the only reason he is party president is that family lineage. Even after this Bihar loss, unlikely that he will be removed from that position or there will be any change within the party leadership. There is, of course, M.K. Stalin, a tall regional leader that BJP will be going up against in Tamil Nadu elections. He himself is a dynast, leading his father, and after him will be his son, Udayanithi Stalin. TMC is a different party because it was started by Mamata Banerjee, and she, of course, did not have any familial grounds in politics. But even in this case, now the future president, in all probability, is going to be her nephew Abhishek. So the issue is not just youth, but also dynasty-driven politics, which of course the BJP and the Prime Minister never fail to mention. So the big question we're asking today is this: even as the BJP has announced its new generation, quote-unquote, millennial president, are other parties in India really still stuck in the past when it comes to their generational leadership change? That debate is coming up.
कि आने वाले विधानसभा चुनावों में भी लोग केरला में बीजेपी को अवसर जरूर देंगे।
भारतीय जनता पार्टी आने वाले समय में अब बंगाल में भी कमल खिलाएगी, बंगाल में भी कमल खिलाएगी। पुडुचेरी में और तमिलनाडु में हम सरकार बनाएंगे।
लेकिन हम पूरी तरह से आश्वस्त हैं कि भाजपा का कार्यकर्ता अपने संघर्ष और परिश्रम के बल पर इन पांचों राज्यों में सशक्त भाजपा का नेतृत्व प्रदान करने जाएगा।
Let's go across to our guest joining us. Guru Prakash Paswan is national spokesperson of the BJP from the same state as Nitin Naveen, Mahima Singh, Congress spokesperson, Rashid Kidwai, senior journalist, and Rajat Sethi, political analyst, also with us. Rashid Kidwai, I want to begin with you. Would it be fair to say that as far as party matters is concerned, party leadership issues is concerned, the BJP is once again showing the way to other parties which continue to be mired either in dynasty politics or in leadership of the past?
Yeah. Thank you, Shivani. Shivani, today is the first day of Mr. Naveen Nitin as BJP president. It will be very unfair to, criticize him or talk about things that, but, the job of a political analyst is to be candid. The relationship between a political party which is in power and the party organization is of that of a philosopher and king. So in that sense, the new BJP president has a role of a philosopher. He can guide, he can advise, but when it comes to vote catching, vote gathering ability, it is Mr. Narendra Modi, Mr. Amit Shah and others. So in that sense, he is not a kind of very optimistic sign. But in terms of optics, yes. But on the substance, no. See, if you look at the electoral history of India, there is no correlation between having a robust organizational setup and success. Success comes from an individual, whether it was Indira Gandhi, whether it was Narendra Modi, whether it was Arvind Kejriwal or Mayawati. Mayawati, she did not even have a party constitution, no party organizational network. Even then she won. So therefore, in India, what you say, the opposite is true. As I said, today is not a day to criticize the new BJP president, but it is very, we are talking about optics, not substance.
It's not so much about him, it's about the party's vision to even give the reins of what is a very large political organization to a 45-year-old who hasn't been hasn't really been in Delhi circles, so as to say, right? That is what we're looking at, the generational shift particularly that BJP has aspired to make. Whether it succeeds or not is a separate issue, but at least they've shown.
Shivani, it's not about political leadership.
It isn't?
But this is not about political leadership. Political leadership is with Mr. Narendra Modi and Amit Shah, just as the political leadership.
But he
is with
has
Rahul
the
Gandhi,
responsibility
not with Mallikarjun
of
Kharge.
cadre, of organization, of party, of maintaining the party, growing the party. All of that will still come under him. I mean, you can't say the BJP will not give him the reins, even though they've made the president just today. Maybe in 1 year's time, we can do the postmortem.
Again, speaking from experience, the organizational head has a very little bearing on the outcome.
Okay.
The number of Congress presidents that were not members of Nehru Gandhi family or were not prime minister were inconsequential. Just as Bangaru Lakshman and Jana Krishnamurthy and others as the BJP president were inconsequential. BJP won in 2014 because of Mr. Narendra Modi, and is winning because of Mr. Narendra Modi, not because of Mr. JP Nadda.
Okay,
If anybody
Guru Prakash
thinks that-
Paswan, maybe reading too much into this generational shift. The Prime Minister obviously spoke his mind. He called him a millennial, technically born in 1980, you could term him a millennial. Why does the BJP then feel that this is such a big generational shift? Because party head at the end of the day is not going to be taking most of your political calls.
No, Shivani, I have some level of disagreement with our senior journalist Rashid ji. Bharatiya Janata Party, we can speak on behalf of BJP, is a political party that works 365 days in the entire year. We have certain abhiyans, certain campaign going around the year. So I don't think the role of the president as described by Rashid ji is as simple as he has just explained to us. We have our structure at the district level, at the mandal level as well. And I think most of us don't know about this aspect that Bharatiya Janata Party has, as a matter of practice, appointed people less than 45 years old as their mandal president, which is the most basic and the most decentralized unit in our organization. That is point number one. Point number two, we have to understand that it is a message not only to the party cadres, but it is a message to the youngsters across the country. It is a message of hope, resilience, and aspiration. Nitin Nabin ji, I'm fortunate. I'm his elector. I live in his constituency, in the Bankipur, which is the urban constituency of Patna, and he has been an MLA since the last 20 years. He has served as a state Yuva Morcha president. He has served as National General Secretary of the Yuva Morcha under the presidentship of Mr. Anurag Thakur. And you would remember that the yatra from Kanyakumari to Kashmir to Lal Chowk, he was very much a part of that yatra. Many things on his CV we are all aware of, like the unlikely delivery of victory in Chhattisgarh, where everyone righted us out. They said BJP is not going to come back to power. He was in charge of Sikkim as well. So I think the experience, the youth vision, the energy, the enthusiasm, the excitement, Nitin Nabin ji represents a combination of all these factors. And the Bharatiya Janata Party has always ensured this. And I mean, when Atal Bihari Vajpayee ji was made the president of Jan Sangh, he was also 48. When Amit Shah ji became the president of Bharatiya Janata Party, he was 49. So it is not anything which is unprecedented or new. The Bharatiya Janata Party has consciously cultivated leadership for the next 25 years. And let me add one more thing to this decision, that the team which will be formed, the team would be formed keeping the next 25 years in mind. The national general secretaries, the national secretaries, all our media people, all our Manch, Morcha, the public policy research division, across the party, you would see a major landmark transition.
No, interesting.
Today.
Interesting you mentioned that, because the PM also said that Nitin Nabin will now lead the party for the next 25 years. Mahima Singh, compare this, since you're from the Congress, to what's going on in the Congress. I mean, the Congress is facing a double whammy. Not only is it stuck in the past with just one family, Gandhi family, making Rahul Gandhi the Prime Minister, even if he's not the party head, he's the de facto head of the party. And you're actually facing a double whammy. Not only are you not being able to move on from the Gandhi family, your young faces have perpetually been leaving your party. Contrast that to the message that the BJP is sending of youth and non-dynastic politics.
Jai Hind. Shivani, I'm quite intrigued at your stance. You know, you said even if Rahul Gandhi is not the party president, he is the de facto head of the party. Was Mr. Modi the party president when he became the prime minister? My question number one to you. My question number two to you, you are saying by doing this, the BJP has created leadership for the next 25 years. Well, we have seen tall leaders in the BJP. Where is Mr. Murli Manohar Joshi today? Where is Mr. L.K. Advani today? All of us empathize with them. In fact, they are in a pitiful state where they are pushed to the sides of the stages, and now they are not seen on the stages anymore. We have also seen how Mr. Modi, when he goes to greet him, intimidates, stands over him in intimidating postures. Leave that aside also. Now, Mr. Nitin Nabeen has become the newest lamb to slaughter of the Modi-Shah duo. Let me just say that. You know, the BJP is a party that runs on its whims and fancies. The BJP is a party that has no internal democracy, which is why they don't trust and respect the democratic processes in the country, hence SIR, hence vote chori. And if the BJP had its leadership, in fact, Shivani, all these years, if leaders were created in the BJP, they won't have to poach it from other parties. As we have been seeing, the BJP is not the biggest party in the country. The BJP is the biggest horse trading unit in the country. The BJP is the biggest Hippocratic unit in the country. And what we have seen today, you know, every time a leader is chosen at the helm in the BJP, we see the position being weakened. We see the postures going more cowardly, more submissive and servile in their, imagery. So that is what the country is seeing. And, Mr.
I'm
Modi
surprised you're talking about somebody being in service and servile. Do you remember the images of how Prime Minister Manmohan Singh used to look in front of Sonia Gandhi? I don't even want to bring that up because that's not the focus of my debate. But he's 40, one second, ma'am, he's 45 years old. Surely, Dr. Manmohan Singh. He's 45 years old. If he's showing reverence to a 75-year-old Narendra Modi, I don't think that that's being servile. There's an age difference.
Shivani, big thanks to you for reminding us.
Yeah.
Because remember how Dr. Manmohan Singh stood parallel to Dr. Barack Obama and faced the press responsibly. Unlike now, when Mr. Modi stands before the press in the US and a question is, posed to him.
I think we're deviating from our discussion. Mahima Singh, I just wanted you to focus on the point. I want your view as the Congress spokesperson.
Position of the Prime Minister.
Mahima Singh, I wanted your view as the Congress spokesperson on, do you think the Congress party or other regional parties are sending the right message when only party lineage is able to become party president, and when, there is older leadership that is still in control? You may not agree with what the BJP has done. I want to understand from you what is the message, for example, the other rival national party, the Congress party, has been able to send as far as its leadership is concerned.
Shivani, you are in the business of perception building, image building. You are rightly doing so by conducting a whole show on how the BJP is doing it right. I am in the business of showing a mirror to the ruling party and to the government and to the news channel when it comes at that. So let me just do that, and let me just say, you brought it to Dr. Manmohan Singh. In fact, you mispronounced Mr. Manmohan Singh, and I showed you a mirror by saying that his stature is remembered by generations to the extent that even the BJP had to bow down before a prime minister who in his legacy said that the history will be kinder to me, and history is indeed kinder to him. The whole world remembers him. The whole world will remember our current Prime Minister for being Hippocratic, for having a wrong degree,
we aren't discussing Prime Ministers. You talked about Nitin Nabeen being servile, right? You used that word when he was on stage. So I'm only commenting on that. What is servile in this case? What was servile in this case? But in any case, that's not the focus of my debate.
Your neutral position of a moderator and anchor.
Ma'am, I'm asking you a question, but you're not answering my question.
I'm absolutely answering your question. I started by answering your first question, and I raised a question to you. Was Mr. Modi the BJP head? Why are your perceptions so skewed? Was Mr. Modi the BJP head when he became the Prime Minister?
That's not the question I asked you. The question I asked you was that there is... Mahima Singh, the question I'm asking you is that here you have a party that has shown a message to the young of this country that somebody who is an ordinary karyakarta can become the party president, right? He's not really someone who was known to the media even that very much, has certain administrative experience, has been chosen, handpicked to become the party president. Are other parties also setting that merit-based
let me
example?
tell
Ma'am,
you-
at least allow me to finish my question. Are other political parties like yourself setting that example that merit will come first and not family collections? That was my question to you.
Merit is always, it has been first, is first. You know why the BJP is pained by the Gandhi family? They are pained by the Gandhi family, and you guys, join them in that because this is the only party that keeps their virile, intentions behind checks. And let me just say that when Kharge ji was elected, he was elected by thousands of PCC delegates, the delegates within the party, which are also, chosen through a due process. What is the process in the BJP? What is this nomination business? What whims and fancies is the BJP running on? Mr. Nadda was made a president and then he was extended, and then 6 years he remains the president. You were also speaking about fixing accountability earlier during the story part of your show. I would ask you, Shivani, how many elections did the BJP got defeated in? In fact, Mr. Nadda's home state, Himachal, did we see the accountability being fixed? Did we see Mr. Nadda stepping down? No, we did not. So please, you can continue doing your business of perception building, but the people will keep seeing through the BJP's conduct. And
It is indeed about perception.
Well,
Party
just
and
because
party
developing
politics
within the
and
BJP.
government politics is all about perception. It is about telling the public what you stand for. So
And you
Rajat
made that.
Sethi has the BJP indeed said any kind of a different messaging as the party would like us to believe that this is the first millennial president? Would it make such a big difference in how he runs a party, how the party looks at the next 25 years?
I don't think, Shivani ji, we should jump the gun. When a young leader, reaches up to this level, we should celebrate it and not be, pathologically negative in our approach to everything that we analyze. I mean, analysts are very good at armchair commentary and passing comments without having worked equally hard as people, especially politicians around us, work. So we should give them some credence if he has risen up the ladders. All credit to him. And I think we should first be appreciative of the fact that young leaders are coming in, reaching and representing this youthful nation. And we should also hope and pray that all other parties can also promote youth leadership. I mean, a simple message of positivity Congress party could have also given. But, I can't stoop down to their level of negativity. It takes extra hard work, which I'm not ready to put in. I will just say, Congress party would be better off, instead of commenting on the BJP's internal affairs, to focus on its own affairs, and all parties should focus on their internal affairs and leave it to the public to decide. The public will look at Nitin Naveen ji's work and will decide how effective BJP is representing them. It will be the youngsters of various states, the 5 states that are going into elections, will look up to him. The cadres of the BJP, which will go out and slog for the next couple of months for the upcoming election, will look up to him to mobilize him to charge up the cadre base. So, I mean, allow him to work. He's just come in under very, very big shoes that he has to come in and fit. There's already a lot of pressure on him. So we should, as commentators, at least the least that we can do is to allow him space. And in any case, he is a representation, a leader of a political party which is in power, a very, very important position. And therefore, he represents voices of 20-30 crore voters, supporters of the BJP.
But
So
what
he's
about what
representing
Rashid
the whole
Kidwai
employee.
said, that ultimately political decision making is not so much in Nitin Naveen's hand. It will still be,
But
and
how does
rightfully so
various-
maybe,
No,
in the
again,
hands of
why-
Narendra Modi or Amit Shah.
Who said that? Is there a paper published, peer-reviewed paper published on the internal working of the party, which has to be accepted like gospel truth? Like, is it Rashid ji's point of view? It is my point of view. Now, the two of us can quarrel here, which we don't want to because we're very good friends. What I want to simply say is that is his perspective. I don't think that BJP operates like that. BJP is a very decentralized party, by the way. Lot of decision-making happens objectively, and objective decision-making happens also in the parliamentary board. There are a lot of day-to-day operations of the party which happens with the party's president's nod only. See, you need to understand it is not a small party where, we can start pointing fingers out and they don't know how to run the party. I mean, that party has been in office for past 40, 50 years. They've been running this, being the principal opposition and now the principal ruling party. Somewhere BJP is doing the acts correct, right? So we as individual analysts, we don't have the authority, either the experience or anything of that sort to come out and make such sweeping assertions that decision making is not with the BJP president. I mean, that is a bit much.
So, objectively speaking, Rashid Kidwai, I take the same question to you. Has Congress or other parties, you look at the RJD recently, you look at the Samajwadi Party in UP, DMK, TMC, have they also managed to set the same parameters of who is promoted through the party ranks, or do you think this is a fair criticism of dynasty-based parties that they haven't really evolved in an evolving India?
Shivani, I think my friend Rajat Sethi is trying to be politically correct. The facts speak otherwise. You look at the popularity rating of Prime Minister Narendra Modi, established fact. He is the biggest vote catcher, vote getter since 2014. Not only in the 3 parliamentary elections, but in series of state assembly elections. Similarly, one can say about Mamata Banerjee, whenever she wins, and she's been winning, M.K. Stalin, Arvind Kejriwal, and a number of state leaders. It is totally bereft of the kind of organizational setup they have. Look at the BJP, history of BJP since 1980 when it was formed. It always had this Padna Pramukhs, it always had the Bhajpa Yuva Morcha and the organizational setup, but they could not get to 72 unless Mr. Modi arrived on the scene.
No.
Under Jawaharlal Nehru. So I'm just trying
forget
to
the
explain.
past. No, Rashid Kidwai, forget the past. You know,
Even
BJP,
today.
once again, sir, BJP is saying
Your
they're
heart.
setting the benchmark for the next 20-25 years. Are other parties also being able to do so? Please respond on the whole dynasty issue, because the BJP does
No,
separate
because
itself
that is what I'm saying. The whole
from
premise
other
is-
parties
the
on
whole
the basis
premise-
of this issue.
So, Shivani, that is what I am submitting, that the entire premise is flawed. Anybody in this panel, can they believe that the BJP won a singular election because of JP Nadda? His own state, Himachal, they lost to the Congress. But I'm not holding that again. That is why I said the job of a party president is that of a philosopher, a guide, not the king. King is Mr. Narendra Modi. King was
But
Rahul
who
Gandhi,
can
Sonia
become,
Gandhi, Jawaharlal Nehru.
Rashid Kidwai, who can even aspire to become the party president is the question here. Can ordinary karyakartas aspire to become the party presidents in other parties? That's the question I'm asking.
Shivani, you can go on debating this, but what I'm saying is, we are in electoral politics. Democracy is about winning. There have been 88 AICC presidents. How many would you remember, or how many would I remember, other than Jawaharlal Nehru, Indira Gandhi, Rajiv Gandhi, Sonia Gandhi, maybe P.V. Narasimha Rao, Sitaram Kesari? See, this is a long and short of, the capsule of Congress history. And this applies to others. Nobody remembers Bangaru Lakshman's tenure. What point I'm saying is that the organization has a thing, it's about optics, that they have appointed a young president. But the young president, if there is an election in Bengal, in Assam, in Kerala, in Tamil Nadu, you see, it is Mr. Modi who will be there on the big ticket. And
No,
anybody
fair enough. But both are not at cross purposes. Both can work together. Both are not, inimical to each other, that whether you have a tall leader on whose name you will catch votes, that's fine, that's fair. But that doesn't mean that party representation or party organization cannot go to worthy candidates. I mean, contrast that to what, for example, the Congress has faced. Several young faces have left, cribbing about the fact that they don't get opportunities.
Listen. Yeah. So now, see, for instance, the young face in Assam, Mr. Gaurav Gogoi, has the opportunity. If he wins, then obviously it will be a testimonial that the young leadership of Congress has won. Over Deputy Sachin Pilot in Rajasthan, Revant Reddy in Telangana. We can talk about it, but we can't be talking about party presidents who are faceless.
Okay, party presidents not so key or critical to either the journey of the political party or to electoral results. Mr. Paswan.
No, I think Mr. Kidwai is a very senior commentator, but reducing a party president office of world's largest political party to such a thing is something which is very unfortunate and has no meaning with reality or logic as far as I can understand, because I am a second generation politician and I have seen politics since my childhood. I understand that the party president's office is something which is very meaningful and very consequential. But as far as the Bharatiya Janata Party is concerned, let me tell you, the panelist from the Congress party was commenting on internal democracy. It is the 50th year of emergency. The darkest days of India's democracy was during emergency 1975, and we are all aware of the fact that the state of democracy within the Congress party is so deep, is so meaningful that the TMC in West Bengal and the DMK in Tamil Nadu are also not listening to the Congress party. For the Bharatiya Janata Party, it is a day of hope, and from today onwards, let me tell you this as a very categorical, as a member of the Bharatiya Janata Party, as a worker of the Bharatiya Janata Party, there is a renewed sense of optimism. The message cannot be explained in just such set of words. You have to understand, you have to imagine. I was at the party headquarters in Patna today, Shivani. In Patna, and I was at the party headquarters in Patna today, and we saw the broadcasting that happened. And common people, non-political people, they gathered, thousands of people, has absolutely no connection to politics. But today is not a day to complain and criticize or respond to the Congress party. I would not like to waste a second of my time responding to the baseless allegations of the Congress party. But as a member, as a worker of the Bharatiya Janata Party, it is a day of hope, excitement, and a new chapter has started.
Okay, new chapter certainly. Mahima Singh, could the fixation on families and dynastic politics be the death knell of many parties in India? Do you think there needs to be some fresh thinking? The youth of this country, which is 70% of our population now, doesn't look at these issues the way even people looked at 20 years ago or 30 years ago, when it was normal, it was passé, it was understood. But the young of this country don't really believe in those norms anymore.
Shivani, in fact, thank you, but no thank you for, the kind of inquisitions that you're bringing up on your show today, because we are doing just fine. Sangathan Srijan is on its full swing. Congress party is doing well. As soon as the electoral machinery is put back in its correct form, we'll be back into the picture with a bang. But let me just say, Shivani, let's hope what you are saying about the new BJP president is all appropriate and befitting. Let's hope that he will, bring a fresh breath of air in the BJP style of working. Let's hope that the politics of hatred, communalism, bulldozer will take a backseat. Let's hope that he will speak with the family of Yuvraj, the young software engineer who died in Noida yesterday, at the watch of the agencies. Let's hope he'll send a word of apology to the Shankaracharya who's been insulted in UP, a state governed by the BJP. Let's hope that he will speak on SIR. Let's hope he will speak to the victim of Manipur, the rape victim who's just lost her life, who's gone, and 3 years Manipur has been burning. Let's hope that the BJP's new youth president, Gen Z, if not Gen Z, millennial president, let's hope that he will, right? Let's hope he'll talk on all the issues that the country is waiting to hear from
absolutely.
Let's hope he will also talk on the open-ended Operation Sindoor. Let's hope all of this, and all the best to him.
Okay, Rajat, final word. Lots of challenges as far as the BJP is concerned. This leadership change is coming at a very crucial time. I listed out some of those challenges that Nitin Nabin will have to face going forward. Your thoughts of, what the party would, is aiming to achieve in the next 5 years, particularly, let's say, later this year itself in 5 state elections or 4 state elections, versus this long-term vision. Can Nitin Nabin deliver?
Again, see, if you look at BJP, it's not an individual-centric party. It is not on Nitin Nabin ji himself to actually go out and win elections. All he needs to do is to act as a leader, to empower people right from the booth to mandal to district level, to do the best thing that is there for the party, and the party wins. It's the whole entirety of the Karyakarta base that the BJP boasts of, which goes out and win elections. His job remains, and he will be tested that whether he's able to, motivate them, push them to their absolute limits to go out and work hard. That's what a leader does. And I believe, nobody is born as a leader. It is about leadership. You exercise leadership when the opportunity comes. Now, the opportunity is there before him. These are 5 difficult state elections, especially in the areas where BJP hasn't made a mark. He needs to go out. These are areas where he would have perhaps done his pravas, doing his political party activities in each of these states. So he would be having relationship in these states. But going out and taking those calls, taking those decisions around a selection of candidates, doing sabhas, motivating people. All of that is a tough challenge that he will be
Tough challenge
quickly
indeed.
getting on as soon as he gets into the firm in the firm seat.
Yes, even
after this
despite
anointment.
having a vote catcher, as Rashid Kidwai said, in Narendra Modi, it will be tough challenges for the BJP ahead because they've already been in power for now for its third term. So there will be challenges that will only increase from here on. But I'll leave it at that. I do thank our guests for joining us.